Have you ever thought about all the people that it took to help get you where you are today? This could include teachers, mentors, babysitters, coaches, siblings, parents, church pastors, youth group leaders, to name a few.
Hi, I'm Heather Kelly, and the person who poured into me is my grandma.
Hello, my name is Ryan Ludden. The person who had a big impact on my life was a coach who was also my dad.
Hi, my name is Shelby Babcock, and one of the people that poured into me most as a child was my grandmother.
Hi, my name is Janine Webb, and the person who poured into me was my mom.
Hello, my name is Sarah Rosa Morales, and sport coaches were very impactful in my childhood.
Hi, my name is Lauren Werner, and my father was a positive impact in my childhood.
Hi, my name is Mandela Gapala. The person who has supported me the most is my mom.
And I am Jessica Childress, and the person that poured into me the most throughout my youth was my mom. For many youth in our local community, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Kentuckiana is that person. The mission of Boys and Girls Clubs of Kentuckiana is shown here. One of their main goals is to teach youth, is to cultivate and support academic success, promote growth, and help teach youth how to establish healthy lifestyles. Over 3,300 youth in our community, ages 6 through 17, were served by the 5 Boys and Girls Clubs of Kentuckiana locations in 2022. One of the main goals of the Boys and Girls Clubs is to teach kids that they can be a change agent in the community. They can make a positive impact through their voice, actions, and choices. Boys and Girls Clubs also teach kids that there are endless opportunities available to them. And oftentimes for the youth that participate in their programs, doors are open for them that may have otherwise been closed.
And our why as a team for choosing the Boys and Girls Club of Kentuckiana was our team has a passion for helping the youth. There's several team members who support youth during summer camps, and another team member has 2 of her children that are members of the club. Also, we like the idea of helping an established organization with the rebranding of an event, and we felt confident as a team that we can make an immediate and sustained impact.
So as Heather iterated, we're very passionate about the mission of the Boys and Girls Club. However, we did have one big question as we attended the open house night. And that was, how can such an established organization need our help? But that question was very quickly answered that night when we learned that Daryl Unseld, who's the president and CEO of the club, as well as Karen Tate, who's the special events manager, had only been there for 6 months as we met them in November. So one of their first acts was to go through and evaluate some of the fundraising events the club had over time. And what they found was they had way too many events that had become stale. And they also found out that their donor base was significantly aged.
So a lot of the corporate sponsorships that were taking place to fund the fundraising events, when they had these events for corporate sponsorships, it was closing the door for a lot of individual donors. And so it was really excluding a large population of people who are willing to give back to Boys and Girls Club. So it's just a strategic shift to focus on individual donors and a younger population of donors was really going to allow the organization to grow their donor base and retain and engaged community members for years to come. So in an effort to attract a younger crowd, Karen and Daryl finally settled on an idea of a sneaker ball. When we met with them in November, the only things that they had established for this event was a location, a date, their guest speaker of Deion coach Prime Sanders, and a fundraising goal of $350,000. They had a long way to go to lay the foundation for a successful event. Here's how the primers were able to help.
Yeah, I would like to share with you the journey of our project with Boys and Girls Club of Kentuckiana. Our timeline began back in November when we were paired with this organization. Soon after, we met with Karen to learn more about the project and how we can better support them. From there, we started setting up regular meetings with her, and we narrowed down the focus to be more specific on what we wanted to focus on. With the help of our encore mentor, Sandra, we decided to split up into the subcommittees based on the PI result from the opening retreat. From there, those subcommittees worked together with Karen to ensure the successful 2023 event, as well as to gear up to 2024 events. I would like now to introduce those three subcommittees, and I will start with the one that I'm part of, which is my favorite.
So myself, Mandela, and Janine were part of the PR and marketing subcommittee. And I think the best way I can probably describe this committee or this journey for us was equivalent to those ropes courses at our event day at Fort Dodge. So we would get down one path going really, really well, and all of a sudden reach a dead end, have to circle kind of back, and then reevaluate, regather, and it kind of happened a few times. So when we first started, the first ask was go out and, find the media outlets, go out and find sponsorships, go and just get the word out. So immediately started aggregating all kinds of different media outlets, potential possibilities, get you on TV here, get you on TV there, look at a radio spot there, going all, just a million ideas. And as soon as we met Karen and said, here's what our ideas are, she said, oh, one side thing, we just secured a partnership with WLKY for the exclusive, to be the exclusive, basic broadcast media for the event. So kind of stop there. And she said, but don't stop there. What we'll do instead is why don't you guys now go focus on individual ticket sales? Think of ways of how we can get out there, because we've always had a large corporate donor base, a large corporate tickets that are sold, but now we want to introduce kind of individual tickets. And in doing so, we started going through all of our connections, either through our works, basically sending out blasts through things like Yammer, saying, hey, this event's coming up, get your tickets now. And even sending the organizations we were part of, including the Global Leadership Center, as well as like White House, sending out blasts. But as we got through that, as we got out and started going that way, the next time we met with Karen, she said, okay, pause again, we're sold out and the tickets are gone. So we kept on going. So we run the turd. So we kept on, how can we continue to help? And so what we landed on, thankfully, in our group between Mandela, myself, and Janine, we had a media expert in Janine, social media expert, and she's going to talk about some of the things we helped during the event.
Thanks, Ryan. I don't know if I'd call myself a social media expert, but I was looking for the job where I could sit down. That's what platforms Boys and Girls Club have in place. So they have Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We soon decided that Instagram was probably one of the best places to kind of get some hype around the event. And so that's what we really leaned on. But of course, Boys and Girls Club work with kids. So we had to look at what sort of privacy policies were in place before we go broadcasting with other children. So we actually just decided that we were going to refrain from posting any minors on the Instagram and Facebook page. And then we also found out that there was an agreement between Boys and Girls Club and Coach Deion Sanders not to broadcast any live stream footage. So it was really incredible watching him speak, but we didn't capture that on our Instagram page. We just create hype in different ways. One of those ways is to create catchy hashtags. So we had some hashtags from the days leading up to the event, the day of the event, and the day following that can still be searched. Things like hashtag crime, hashtag BGCK, hashtag Great Future Sneakable. As Ryan mentioned, we really wanted to lean into some media relationships, but that didn't happen. But we did still have Today's Women's Magazine that was present, and we made sure that people were handed magazines because they were present at the event. And the corporate relationships where we wanted to focus on individual ticket sales, again, that was another closed doors, but we were able to secure a $1,000 donation from Yum Brands. And that was without them buying any tickets or tables. So that went toward our total amount raised. And finally, like Ryan said, as you'll see on this next slide, I was the point person for all of the Instagram hype leading up to the event. I even screenshotted Coach Deion Sanders' dog that was on the plane coming to the Sneaker Ball. Who doesn't love a dog? We also got a picture of Miranda Construction in their custom sneaks, and that helped to create some hype. We added all these stories to a highlight reel. So if you go to their page now, you can see all of the day of the event, the stories leading up to the event. And we think it would be a really great thing for them to follow in future events to have one each year. Finally, on this next page, we reposted footage from our guests. So it was really good to get that guest engagement where they tagged us in some posts where they were having some fun with an open bar and some desserts and some more cookies.
So Sarah and I worked on the Outreach and Partnership Subcommittee. During our discovery call with Karen, we learned that the Boys and Girls Club of Kentuckiana competes with over 300 other nonprofits in the Kentuckiana and Louisville area. She also told us about the struggle of getting into secure corporate sponsorships because it's all about knowing the right people. And as Ryan mentioned earlier, Karen and Daryl had only been with the organization for 6 months. So, and Karen actually came from Oregon. So their networks were a little smaller than they would have liked. So historically, the club has struggled keeping and retaining corporate sponsorships for some of their fundraising events. So an area of focus that Karen really wanted our help with was she found a need that we needed to find more individual donors that had regular, non-restricted donations. And then working with Karen, we identified this need for more consistent outreach.
So there were identified two groups, the parents from graduates and then previous donors that had not donated in the last 2 years. So what we did, we created, is there in the playbook, an 8-step communication campaign that they can now use to reach out to those targets.
Our third area of concentration was event specifics, and that consisted of 4 key areas that Jessica, Shelby, and myself focused on. The first area was getting the youth involved in the event. So we were able to secure 20 youth ambassadors, and we put what we learned into Brown-Forman training day about branding into action there. As a team, we were able to set up a training session with the youth about 2 hours prior to the event and gave them instructions on greeting the guest and giving them directions. And all the youth were easily identified by wearing the same gold shirts that we are wearing today. And also we created a Meet a Club Kids Spotlight. So this will be displayed on the table at future events that will highlight certain kids within the club. Second, we identified companies that would donate items to the live or the silent auction. So we were able to secure a basketball autographed by ULL men's coach, Kitty Payne. Third, we developed the Great Sneaker Ball Post Survey event, which they have never had an event survey to get feedback afterwards to help improve future events. And we learned a little bit about that, the after action review while we were at Fort Knox. Lastly, we provided instant brand awareness, as you can see, with a live video photo booth. And that can be used on social media live during the event and also to advertise future marketing campaigns.
I hope you all can unsee those announcements. So what was the outcome of the event? I'm sure you're all dying to know. We had 769 attendees. Again, it's sold out. Just for reference, the largest event that they'd held in the past had 450. We also had 62 sponsorships, 21 of which were new sponsorships.
The total gross amount that was recovered from during the fundraising of this event was $400,000. That is going to provide support to have 100 additional kids for 1 year. Then from the innovation session, we came up with this playbook that is the one that you have on your tables. So that is summarizing everything that we put together so the club can use that for future events. And then finally, we build a very strong relationship with Karen. She knows that we are open to continue working with them to support them in the future as needed.
Everybody loves a good excuse to hear from a Hall of Fame athlete and have a fun night out, but what does it mean in the grand scheme of things? At the risk of running over 15 minutes, we want you to know exactly what that means. From a live testimony or a testimonial from a true family that uses the Boys and Girls Club of Kentuckiana every day and the impact it makes.
Hi, my name is Ashley Jennings. I have 2 children that attend the Boys and Girls Club, and they have for some years now. I really want to thank the Boys and Girls Club for everything they've done, especially for my son as far as his reading. When he first started attending the Boys and Girls Club, he was at a kindergarten level, and he was in the 2nd grade. Ms. Presley and Mr. Rick have played a recording of him reading. And when I actually heard him read, I was so sad, like my heart was broken. Within weeks, Miss Presley and the people at the Boys and Girls Club got him to a 3rd grade reading level. In school, the teacher called, she's told me that he's one of the best readers in the class now. He actually volunteers to read. He likes to help other kids to read, and it comes easy now. He will be lost, really, because even with ESS, I don't feel like they were helping him the way Miss Presley was helping him.
During our DE&I day at U of L, we heard a quote that really stuck with us and brought this whole project home. Equality is when everyone gets a pair of shoes. Equity is when everyone has a pair of shoes that fits. The Boys and Girls Club of Kentuckiana strives to give every one of our kids in our community a pair. Sorry, we've got to. Oh, I thought you could just. We want all of our kids to have a pair of shoes that fits, and I'm just gonna tell you real fast, you guys all got a cute little pair of shoes. If you look around the room today, you see a lot of sneakers, and our hope is that when you see sneakers and you think of that, you wonder how you can help pour into our youth and those that pour in.
Question. This is awesome. Congratulations. I saw this event everywhere. I just didn't know that you all were doing it. So good job. So what's the plan for next year without you? So y'all put a lot of work into this. Is there a committee? Is there like what happens next?
So I'm actually partnering with Karen now to analyze the results from the post-event surveys. So we actually plan on staying connected with her and, looking to incorporate that feedback and supporting them for planning for next year's event. So Karen, she mentioned established a really strong relationship. So we plan on continuing to partner with her and prepare for next year's event based on this year's experience.
I would add a little bit to that too, because as you saw with the roadblocks that we ran into, we had ideas that weren't able to get executed upon this year. And so we've added them to our playbook and our conversation with Karen. So even if we aren't here, which I think some of us will be, we still have given her some ideas and things that she can carry forward as well.
You all have information on, I know, you had the number of folks who attended events in the past. Do you know what the most they ever raised an event in the past was compared to what they did this year? Also, by the way, thank you. I went to that event before this. And I love that. It's a great organization. It was a great event. But as Cassidy said, I saw this all over the place. I know lots of people who did attend and was nothing but wonderful feedback. So congratulations.
So past years, based on the feedback Karen shared, she mentioned 469 was the max attendance they had. And she said about $250,000 was the amount that they had raised, like the top amount that they had raised before.
And were you able to see if you got there through individual ticket purchases? Is kind of part of the goal?
We definitely, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but that was some of the feedback that Karen gave us. I think that's how we led to the selling out as quickly as we did, is that push, because to our point earlier, there's a lot of red tape in corporations these days. I just got merged into a new corporation, so I feel it all the time. But it's a lot easier when you can really connect with the individuals and grab those onesies and twosies up. And so I think there is some great success that we can build on.
Especially because I'll just quickly add with corporate sponsorships, I'm sure you all have been invited to galas in the past and you kind of go, and then some people kind of flake at the last minute, for one reason or another. Having individual ticket sales was really unique to the event. And I had people hunting me down at like, I'm on the wait list. Like, can you do anything? I was like, no, I can't. I'm really sorry. So I think it just is a testament to you will have heard about it, but also there was so much buzz around this event.
You guys talk a little bit about tangible metrics or measures of success in terms of growing the individual donor base that you talked about in terms of, did you see actual people enroll as individual donors? How did that go?
So some of the databases that they have really kind of focus on who has donated in the past. So we didn't actually have the opportunity to dig too much into that, other than Karen telling us that it was needed. But that's where that communication campaign comes in, is really so that as they want to grow that individual donor base, they have the tools to do that going forward.
So you had talked about that they had too many events as a result of this, the success of this events. Have they scaled back the number of events they're going to have on an
Yeah, they
annual
have.
basis?
And they focused on the Coach Prime name was the deal maker for this. And I think it was one of those things, they solidified the name and then he just took off, and it was perfect timing for them to get him on a better budget than they might be able to this year. But they've kind of moving forward, they might do onesie, twosie little things here and there, but this is going to be their focal point, and they're going to work. The other thing about Coach Prime that's awesome is he was a Boys and Girls Club kid. And so they're working to keep that athlete trend with the personal alumni experience to get the buzz continued to go for next year.
It was actually one of their goals was to actually make this a signature event, like make it a can't miss in Louisville if you got to be there. So they're already working on the next guest speakers. And so a lot of what we did on the social media side, we turned over, we had people planted all throughout the event, taking pictures. We're just loading those all to Karen saying, hey, next year when it comes around, whenever you have your announcement of who's going to be, start reusing some of these images, put them on, like make the buzz in the summer to start, so you don't have the big push at the end like we did this year. So.
And the event did take place in the west end of Louisville too. So we didn't mention that, but the Norton Healthcare Sports and Event Center, that beautiful building, it actually took place in the west end, which was really well received too.
It was it was very intentional too, because they wanted us to see as you're driving down there and you feel that's the community that you're serving. Those are the kids that you're making a difference in their life, and really hoping to set them up for success. Sure.